a long time, so you can probably put your guitar down.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Church of Lincoln. My name is Kathy Disney, and I am a worship associate of this church. I am joined on the chancel virtually this morning by Jamie Radcliffe, another worship associate. Over the last few years, the way we have met has often changed. But whether in person, on Zoom, or in a YouTube live stream, or some way of being that we cannot yet imagine, worshiping together is a chance to deepen our connection with the sources of meaning in our lives, and to proclaim who we are and what we are about, throwing open the doors of our congregation and proclaiming the radical love and welcome that is at the heart of our faith. The Unitarian Church of Lincoln aspires to be a loving community, uniting reason with spiritual exploration to transform ourselves and the world. We have a big vision here, and we know that creating a loving community begins with welcome. So whether this is your first time here or your 500th, if you came here hopeful or heartbroken, whatever your age, gender, skin color, whomever you love, you are welcome here. As we enter into worship, take a moment to center yourself in this space. Find a comfortable place with your body. Take a few deep breaths. And let us begin worship with our chalice lighting.
Our chalice lighting words today are from Ian W. Rydell. Come one, come all. Come with your missing pieces and your extra screws. Come with your hard edges and your soft spots. Come with your bowed heads and upright spines. Come all you flamboyant and drab, verbose and quiet, fidgeting and lethargic. All you with large vision and tender hearts. All you with small courage and tender fears, bring your lisp and your stutter and your song, bring your gravel and your drawl and your lilt, bring your anger and your joy and your righteous indignation. Misfits and conformists and everyone in between, come into this space and be welcome. Bring who you are, bring where you've traveled, bring what you long for, and let us worship together.
Our opening hymn is number 188 in the gray hymnal, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We are going to attempt this as a round. So how we're going to do it is we're going to divide the room in half. And we will, the break will be, Come, Come, Whoever You Are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Come, come, whoever you are, wonderful. Okay, so it's right in the middle. And what we're going to do is sing it one time in unison, and then start this half of the room in the round, then this half of the room in the round, and we will do it twice as a round and declare victory.
If anyone would like to come forward for the story, you're welcome to do so now. Our story today is called Ricky, the Rock That Couldn't Roll by Mr. J. Over the lake and out past the bay was a green grassy hill where the rocks come to play. They would race to the top to take in the view, then roll their way down the way rocks love to do. There were Kip, Pip, and Chester, and Marvin the Boulder. Ignatius played too, though he was much older. And a group called the Pebbles never ever sat still, zigzagging their way up and over the hill. Kay was a meteorite and not from this planet, and Maya was lava, but taken for granite. Stu was the smart one, Parker the clown, and grumpy old Ebert rolled round with a frown. Gabby was sassy, and Lizzie had flair. Emma was giggly, and Hud had black hair. But the one trait that seemed to be shared by them all was that every rock there was shaped like a ball. And because they were round, they could easily roll through the grass, past the lake, up and over the knoll. Except for poor Ricky, who quietly sat. You see, rocks couldn't roll because one side was flat. His friends didn't get it. Come roll, they would say. They can't. Wait, blah, blah, blah. His friends didn't get it. Come roll, but he can't. So Ricky tried and replied, I'm sorry, I can't. I might have typed that incorrectly. Sorry, rhyming books, you know. But the rock was determined. They were sure they could solve Ricky's flat-sided problem and help him revolve. So Marvin the Boulder, with his impressive physique, carried Rick all the way to the hill's grassy peak. Then he pushed him downhill, yelling, keep rolling, kid, but Rick didn't roll. He just kind of slid. Well, the rocks weren't done, not by a mile. Surely this next try would get Rick to smile. They stuck rubber balls all over Rick, using big gobs of glue to get them to stick. They were proud of themselves. This will work, they announced, but Ricky still couldn't roll. Now he just sort of bounced. Well, they pushed and they pulled, trying every which way to get Rick to roll, but by the end of the day, nothing had worked, just like Rick expected, and he ended up feeling depressed and dejected. It's no use, Ricky sighed. There just isn't a way, so I'll sit off to the side and watch you all play. But his friends wouldn't quit. We're here for you, brother, and we'll get you to roll one way or another. So they pondered and thought, each straining his brain, till they looked up and saw it was starting to rain. And that's when it hit that smart stone named Stu. Eureka, he shouted, I know just what to do. He explained to them how they would get Rick to tumble. My plan is pure genius. Stu wasn't too humble. So they carried our hero down the road about a mile to the lake where they gathered up mud they could pile on the flat side of Rick, creating a mound that they shaped smooth and sculpted until it was round. Then after the rain with the sun in the sky, they left him to bake till the mud was all dry. They gathered up vines and one colorful feather that they wrapped all around Rick to keep it together. And when the last knot was tied and the work was all done, the only step left was for Rick to have fun. They stood back and watched, feeling nervous and tense, as Rick breathed in deep with increasing suspense. He moved slowly at first, testing out his new mold, and then for the first time, Ricky the Rock rolled. So Bria the ladybug, who'd been there from the start, felt a pure sense of joy swell up in her heart. She thought as she watched her friends play on the hill that there's always a way if there's also a will. And she said to herself as Ricky rolled down the slope, when you're surrounded by love, you always have hope. And that is the end of our story. The children and youth are dismissed back to their classes.
Good morning. My name is Joellen Polzine. My pronouns are she, her, his, hers. Well, Oscar always says we like to make mistakes here. They bring us great joy when we laugh at ourselves. Want to thank the guest music. That was beautiful, and even the youngest among us found it very, very pleasant and fascinating. I wish to welcome Lindsay and Antonio for beautifully enhancing our day. In addition, let us broaden our welcome to those among us who, and beyond us, who share in our larger work to build a world, a community, by celebrating and practicing our Unitarian principles. And let us welcome parts of those parts of ourselves, unseen and unintended, recognizing that each of us, each week, pass milestones, telling our progress, carrying millstones, demanding our strength, and finding stepping stones, revealing our way. Please say out loud, no, sorry. We have a few announcements today. There will be after the service, there will be a tile painting for all ages out on the patio. The tiles are $10, and they benefit the Sunday school program. So come paint a tile and be a part of history. These tiles are preserved, so you'll become a part of history. Also, after the service today, you will have another opportunity to sit down with another person, a blue folder of information, and a short pledge form to fill out. Please be generous with time, talent, and treasure for your pledge for 24. If you are a person who would like to see the budget for next year in the early stages of development, you are welcome to come to the board forum on Wednesday night at 6:30 in the Gathering Place. And I want to offer a special welcome to those of you visiting for the first time today. We hope that you will join us for coffee and conversation following the service. And sometimes there are few little treats. Depends on what's been going on, if what's left over. I think there are today. Yes, there are. Okay, thank you.
As Joellen so rightly said, we want to welcome those parts of ourselves unseen and unattended, recognizing that each of us, each week, pass milestones telling our progress, carry millstones demanding our strength, and finding stepping stones revealing our way. I need to get my laptop for the chat. Please say out loud or type into the chat your name or the names of any you wish remembered with concern or in sorrow. I will read the names out loud that appear in the chat, and I will speak the names out loud that you say so that all can hear them. Please say any names that you have in concern or in sorrow. Angie. Bill. Jerry. Penny. Alan. David. Jenna. Jennifer. Karen. In the chat for sorrow, Dwayne on the loss of his brother. Sorrow, Barbara D. Bernard and family of. Sorrow, family of Mary Roberts. And sorrow, Wendy. Joy also exists in the same place, in the same house, in the same room as sorrow. Let us say out loud your name or the name of someone you wish to celebrate a milestone or stepping stone in joy. Today is Linda's birthday. And today is Pam Wakeman's birthday. Bailey being named to the Planning Commission. Kelly Ross for being nominated for Woman of the Year in Lincoln, and I do believe she did win an Inspire award, but I cannot remember the category. For the Foundation Award, Kelly Roberts. Hooray. Ross. I got hooray out. So in the chat, we have joy and peace to everyone. And Jamie Radcliffe says joy for the new COVID booster. We know that all joys and sorrows cannot be spoken out loud. So in the sanctuary of this shared silence, let us make room for all, both spoken and unspoken. Let us share a moment. Thank you for your presence. For our next hymn, let's stay seated, and we will sing 1010 in the Teal hymnal, We Give Thanks. Each week, we take up a collection to support the work of this church and our partners in the community. We do this because just as we all grow from our participation in the community, we all give back through our time, our talent, and our treasure. As the next piece of music plays, will the ushers please come forward? You may also text your offering to UC Lincoln and the amount to 73256. That's UC Lincoln and the amount to 73256. The offering will now be gratefully received. Our reading today is a poem called A Speech at the Lost and Found by Wisława Szymborska. I lost a few goddesses while moving south to north, and also some gods while moving east to west. I let several stars go out for good. They can't be traced. An island or two sank on me. They're lost at sea. I'm not even sure exactly where I left my claws. Who's got my fur coat? Who's living in my shell? My siblings died the day I left for dry land, and only one small bone recalls that anniversary in me. I've shed my skin, squandered vertebrae and legs, taken leave of my senses time and again. I've long since closed my third eye to all that, washed my fins of it, and shrugged my branches. Gone, lost, scattered to the four winds. It still surprises me how little now remains. One first-person Sing, temporarily declined in human form. Just now, making such a fuss about a blue umbrella left yesterday on a bus. Our next hymn is number 315 in the Gray Hymnal, This Old World, which is not a hymn we sing very often. So as you rise or you are able or inclined, Bill is going to play this through one entire time to give us some help with the melody, but I am sure by the fourth verse we will have it.
Hi, my name's Jamie Radcliffe, and I'm a worship associate of this church. Our joys and sorrows words today were not our standard ones. They included a phrase that I've been thinking about for a while now. Let us welcome those parts of ourselves unseen and unattended. This phrase was one of the first aspects of services at this church that drew me in and encouraged me to think of UCL as a home. It reminded me of parts of myself that had drifted away during my life. It made me think about possibly reclaiming some of them. In our reading today, Wisława Szymborska captured some of my feelings exactly. She writes, I let several stars go out for good, they can't be traced. An island or two sank on me, they're lost at sea. I'm not even sure exactly where I left my claws, who's got my fur coat, who's living in my shell. I have lost friends through inaction, inattention, ineptitude, stars that have gone out for good and can't be traced. Someone in my family sank on me, they're lost at sea. And where my fur coat is now, I do not know. Life, famously, is no bed of roses. The hymn we have just sung reminds us that this old world is full of sorrow. But I heard, let us welcome those parts of ourselves, unseen and unattended. And it seemed to me that what I'd lost could be welcomed back into my heart in all its messiness. Assigning blame, deciding the fault was in our stars or in myself seemed beside the point. These things that I had shed so casually and with such regret were not the only parts of me that the phrase brought to mind. I'd like to introduce you to some other unseen parts of me with a slight digression. I read recently about a study of aphantasia. This is not, despite its name, a piece of music by Bach or Schumann, nor is it an animated movie in which young Mickey Mouse conjures broomsticks. No, it's a condition. People with aphantasia report having no internal mental images whatsoever. Many aphantasiacs say that when other people described seeing something in their mind's eye, they assumed it was just some weird metaphor. It's estimated that about 4% of people have aphantasia. People with aphantasia don't summon up mental images when they read, though they can read perfectly well. There are differences between normal people and aphantasiacs on a number of psychological tests, which tend to confirm their reported lack of mental imagery. Aphantasia makes me furious. Not its existence. What makes me furious is that it's called a condition, but it doesn't cause any trouble to the people who have it. It doesn't make its sufferers sad or upset or unemployable or smarter or less empathic or more empathic. They're just different. They're just in a minority. Aphantasia is one version of what it's like to live as a person with a brain. But there are so many ways to live as a person with a brain. I think it's grossly underappreciated how much variation there is between people in that respect. I happen to live in a brain that has its share of missing pieces and extra screws. I have almost no ability to connect things with their names. I don't remember people's names. I'm good on my immediate family, passable on people I interact with a lot, and disastrous on everyone else. Maybe I have a mild case of anomic aphasia. We'll skip over my auditory processing disorder and get right to the fact that I have almost no interior monologue. Sometimes in the shower in the mornings, I have thoughts that are fully formed sentences said in my head, but the rest of the time I basically never do. The comical quote, "How can I know what I think till I see what I say?" is in fact a perfect description of my life. I have described this feature of my brain's functioning to some people who have then hemmed and hawed about whether I was in fact conscious. I guess it's pretty serious. Call the doctor to treat my alocutionis interni, not a real medical term. When thinking about most things, I have to be able to look at a picture and doodle on it. Doodleitis alert, call the ambulance. Variation is rampant when it comes to people's internal experience of their minds and brains. Humanity is the original broad church in this respect. I have come to accept the weird facts about my brain. I have begun to welcome these particular parts of myself unseen and unattended. And I feel strongly that most differences like this are to be celebrated and or accommodated. This is not to deny that some mental differences cause pain and problems. I just like to see a little more enthusiasm for the gorgeous variety that lies hidden in our heads. I learnt on Thursday of an example of this sort of enthusiasm in action. I don't know how many of you have been watching Welcome to Wrexham on Hulu. It's an ongoing documentary about a soccer club in Wrexham in North Wales. The club was founded in 1864. More recently, the club was purchased by two friends with Hollywood pizzazz, Rob McElhenney of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fame, and Ryan Reynolds, best known maybe as Deadpool. With, as far as I can tell, complete sincerity, they decided they want to be involved in the life of the small town of Wrexham and its storied but fallen on hard times football club. Sorry, I have to say football from now on. I apologize for any confusion. Season 1 came out last fall. Episodes of season 2 are just being released now. It's a roller coaster ride with fantastic production values, but at its heart, it is about the community of Wrexham and the community of Wrexham football fans. A community that shouts about Super Paul Mullin, their star striker. A community that also embraces Paul's 3-year-old autistic son. A community that has arranged for an autism quiet zone in their stadium, the racecourse ground, and access to noise-canceling headphones for anyone who wants them, so that more people can comfortably watch their matches. A community that is trying to draw the circle wide. Returning to our reading, the poem ends after its list of lost things, lost claws, lost sense, squandered vertebrae and legs. Gone, lost, scattered to the four winds. It still surprises me how little now remains. One first-person Sing, temporarily declined in human form, just now making such a fuss about a blue umbrella left yesterday on a bus. I have felt like that. Felt like one first-person singular, temporarily declined in human form. I have fussed about blue umbrellas. I have also felt like one first-person plural, with many identities rattling around in my past, many identities rattling around in my current life, each jostling its way to the front depending on the occasion and the company. But here in this room, I have also felt like part of a first-person plural, part of a community that is honestly trying in covenant to help all its members make sense of their losses and their triumphs. Part of a community that with generous hearts is trying to listen to the experiences of its members and those of the larger community around us. And the path that led me into this community started with the words, "Let us welcome those parts of ourselves, unseen and unintended." Therefore, I urge you to heed the words of the Reverend Scott Taylor. Until we embrace and welcome back the flawed and tender parts of ourselves with the kindness and forgiveness that we so generously give to others, we will never be whole. We will never be home. And also, I ask that you continue to welcome people of every stripe, every history, every Myers-Briggs type. Draw the circle wide. Invite them, in the words of hymn 346, to come dream a dream with me, that I might know your mind. Our closing hymn is hymn 346. Come sing a song with me. Our closing words today are from a blessing by John O'Donohue. May all that is unforgiven in you be released. May your fears yield their deepest tranquilities. May all that is unlived in you blossom into a future graced with love. Go in peace.
Should we have instruments for some pictures? With instruments?